Everybody, Fuseman coming at you today. And after my video last week, there'll be a link right up here. A few people had asked for learning some more advanced features with Navi. So this is in particular using scripting and touch and gestures. So in this video, I decided to go over one, learning how to use the elbow technique, which someone had mentioned on Reddit. Two, using double taps as well as tapping with 3 fingers, and 3, getting access to the raw touch data and using that in your demos. All the code will be accessible on GitHub, and if you go to the branch tutorial starting point, this is where this video will start working on, so you can follow along as well. So with that, enjoy. So achieving the elbow effect is actually pretty simple. So what we're going to do is go ahead and find our camera in the scene and attach an empty game object underneath it. Let's just call this rotation parent. And then we take the object that we want to rotate and drag it underneath the game object we created. So I'm just going to take our cube and drag that under the rotation parent. And then we should just double check our transform. So here it should be centered at 0, 0, 0. And for the cube, the x and y should be at 0. They already are in this case. And then you offset it however much you like. So in this case, it was already offset by 2. And the last thing we have to do is attach the simple copy tablet script to the parent. And we also have to make sure that it is not attached to whatever we're rotating. So I have simple copy tablet here from last week's demo. I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. And that'll about do it. So now if we run it, I have Navi running on my phone. I'm just going to give this a quick reset. And as I tilt up and down, the cube rotates up and down. And if I tilt left and right, it also does the same thing. Touch and gestures are implemented using Unity's C# event API. So we can find the interface to those in the touch manager as well as the gesture manager. In this section of the video, we're going to look at calling change to random color when double tap or you tap with 3 fingers. Change to random color, all it does is takes the particle system that's attached to it and changes it to a random color. So for double taps, we have to look at the touch manager. And we see here's the event for double taps, and it is a touch event which has this method signature. And so it takes in the finger ID, which is the finger that you tap with, and it takes in the position that you tap at. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this method signature, paste that in here, make it an actual method, so handle double tap. And the only thing we have to do in it is call change to random color, so we don't even have to use the parameters here. And because this is the event API, we have to go ahead and register our method. So on double tap plus equals handle double tap. And we should remove our method when the script is destroyed. And so now for gestures, so like tapping with 3 fingers, we can go ahead and look at the gesture manager. This is a multi-finger action, this on 3-finger tap. So it actually doesn't take any parameters, so we can take a little shortcut here and just gesture manager dot on 3-finger tap, change to random color, because change to random color doesn't take any parameters as well. So the signatures match, and then we should also remove it. So that's it to handle double taps and tapping with 3 fingers. So now if we go back into Unity, I can take a look at my cube. I do not have the cube manager script attached, which is where I was writing the code. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add that. So it's added right now. And I have Navi running on my phone, so I'm going to just reset, and if I double tap, I don't know if you guys can see that, so let me reset here as well. If I double tap, we see that the colors change. And if I tap with 3 fingers, it does the same thing. So the last thing I want to show you guys is how to use the raw touch input that you get from the device. In this example, I'm just going to show you how to rotate the cube that you see in front of you by swiping across the device. So to get started, you need to first look at the touch manager, and there are these 5 events here that represent certain actions that you can do by touching the device. And they are all touch events, so you'll know what finger is touching as well as the position it's touching at. For all of these events, so it's touch down, touch up, touch stayed, touch moved, and touch canceled. So the basic, these are designed to replicate how Unity handles touch as well. And I've just migrated them over to work in this networked setting. So to get started, we are going to we're going to be looking at the touch down and touch move method. So I'm going to first copy the method signature and create the 2 handles for touch down as well as the touch move. And so all our tracking is relative. So on touch down, what we're going to do is just get the previous, take the position and store it as the previous position. And then when we touch move, this is when we're actually going to rotate. We are going to get the direction that you are swiping in. So this is going to be pause minus pre-pause. And after experimenting around with this before, I've noticed it's beneficial to actually scale this down a bit. Then we're going to say pre-pause equals pause. And then the last thing is transform.rotate. And so these represent the axes, so we're just going to say dir y for rotating about the x, and dir x for rotating about y, and 0 because we're not going to be, you can rotate automatically by rotating the device, so we don't need to rotate in the z. And the last thing we want to do here is make sure that this is only the first finger. So here we're going to actually be using the finger ID to make sure if you have multiple fingers touching the screen, we are only rotating using the first finger that you touched with. So that'll handle that. And so now we just have to register the events. So touch manager dot on touch down handle on touchdown, or sorry, handle touchdown, and similarly, we're going to do this for touch move. So on touch move, handle touch move. And just as before, we want to remove these when the script is destroyed. This is just good practice to make sure that the event system doesn't call methods that don't exist anymore. And we can just try that out. So just give it a reset. Actually, again, I'm gonna show you guys. So give it a reset, and as I swipe up, it rotates forward. As I swipe left and right, it rotates in the x-axis. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you want more support with the projects you're working on, feel free to join the Google group that I've created. There will be a link to that in the description. And you can go ahead and ask your questions, and the community or I will try to answer them as best as we can. Also, if you have any suggestions for other tutorials or topics you'd like me to cover about Navi, I'll be happy to do that. Just leave a comment below and let me know. And with that, this has been FuseMan. I'm logging out.